Today I will tell you why the 991.1 generation of the Porsche 911 is the best 911 that you can buy. I've previously stated that the 996 and then later 997.2 generations of the Porsche 911 are the best that you can buy. I guess the 991 isn't the best 911. Stupid clickbait. Well, I say a lot of things, and today I will tell you why the 991 should be considered the best generation of the Porsche 911. It's kind of just what I do. The 991.1 introduced the wizardry that is torque vectoring. Porsche torque vectoring, also known as PVT, and I'm not exactly sure why those letters are all mixed up, but I'm assuming something is lost in translation. Torque vectoring works by breaking the inside wheel and driving the outside wheel with extra force to help in cornering. On the surface, all of that makes sense, but from behind the wheel, you'll swear it's magic as you see the laws of physics bend before you. Starting with the 997.2 and continuing with the 991.1, Porsche started to use direct fuel injection. Direct fuel injection works by putting the fuel directly into the combustion chamber. This makes for a much more efficient system than standard fuel injection. The results are lower emissions and better performance. And hey, Porsche engineers have always been about efficient performance. The 991 interior is my personal favorite for quality. It just has a very high-end feel, and that wasn't always the case with past 911s. Sure, it may not be as focused as some other 911s, but it certainly is a pleasant place to be. Of course, it does have more buttons in it than you'll find in a spaceship, but hey, when you drive a rocket, you expect such things. Plus, all of the buttons start to make a lot of sense when you live with it. Since they aren't digital, you're able to feel each button, and you soon start to remember where everything is, so you don't have to look down as much to reach for a control. And keeping your eyes on the road is a very good thing. Trust me, I was knocked out for over 5 minutes due to a concussion. The accident was caused by a driver who looked down fiddling with the radio. At least so I'm told. I don't remember pretty much anything from that day. The Porsche Sports Exhaust is one of the best options you can get on your Porsche. And while the Sports Exhaust button did exist in previous generations, most of them had it tied to the Sports button, or it was controlled simply by driving it spiritedly. The Sports Exhaust button lets things get loud, but in a glorious way. The nice thing is you're able to keep it very quiet in a residential area, or if you spot a police car and don't want to draw extra attention to yourself. By default, the sports exhaust valve is also opened in sport mode, but the sports exhaust button lets you hear that wonderful sound even when you don't want a sportier drive. And the fact that you can turn it on and off will help keep you friends with the neighbors. That is, of course, unless you don't like your neighbors, then you can turn it on all the time. The 991.1 was the last time that a 911 Carrera was available with a naturally aspirated flat 6. With the 991.2 onward, you need to go for a GT3 if you don't want forced induction. Obviously, the performance of the turbo is simply out of this world, but it does change the sound and feel of the car. While I personally wouldn't mind a turbo or a GT2, if you want to give me one, go ahead. The characteristics are very different than a naturally aspirated model. And hey, most of us can't afford a GT3, so being able to get a 911 with a naturally aspirated flat 6 like God intended without paying an extra premium is wonderful. The Porsche 991.1 does hold a very special place to me. Although I had already owned 3 Porsches, the first 911 that I ever drove was an early 991 Carrera S. They are simply great cars, and although they are priced a bit higher than some other options, they are still depreciating and getting more affordable by the year. Well, with the exception of the current market, which is just totally ludicrous. Now, if you'd like to see my arguments for why the 997.2 is actually the best generation of the Porsche 911, check out this video.